Happy Friday. You are listening to the She Heals Radio Show on Awesome God Radio. It is Friday, May 1st, 2020. It is May, y'all. Can you believe it? Listen, if you are tuning in on the Awesome God Radio app, thank you so much. If you are tuning in on Facebook Live, thank you so much. Listen, if you have not downloaded the Awesome God Radio app and you have not just been listening, I'm telling you, you are missing out. The Awesome God Radio app has everything you need. There are amazing shows. There's Uplift with Breezy. There is WBI. There's the Good Life Gospel Show. I'm telling you, Rashad Mills, I could go on and on. There are so many shows, and you will not be disappointed. On top of that, there is amazing music. Shout out to DJ Silent Professor. He gets the music on there all the way together. And then on top of that, there is amazing sermons. I'm telling you, everything you need is on this app, and the app is free. So download the free Awesome God Radio app. What in the world are you waiting for? If you are tuning in on Facebook Live, thank you so much. And I pray that you will be blessed by the show today. Hit the like button, leave a comment, and share it to your page. Last but not least, I have a YouTube channel, y'all. Look me up on YouTube under my name, Whitney Hogan's. Please subscribe. I'm telling you, we're going to get into a little bit more of that later in the show, but there is some things that are happening and that are going to be happening, and you want to be connected. So please go click and subscribe on the YouTube page. I'm telling you, you will be blessed. It's May 1st, y'all. It is my anniversary. And I know when I posted that, people that know me were like, what is she even talking about? What anniversary is she referring to? It is my anniversary. It is my anniversary of the day I became a published author. I am so excited. If anyone that people have known me since I was a kid, I love to write. I started writing poetry at 9. I've always been a writer, and it was my dream to become a published author since the second grade. And on May 1st, 2017, my book came out. And it is so amazing how God will bring things back. And I have some major announcements that are going to come on later. A close friend of mine and an amazing businessman, Clifton Cothorn, is going to be on later. You don't want to miss it. But let's hop into the She Heals Inspiration segment. So here goes this book. And so I actually have it with me. It's called The Pain is Real, but the Promise is Eternal. What to do when God's will hurts. And I have to give you this backstory because it is so appropriate for the time that we are in right now. So listen, I will never forget this moment in my life. February of 2013. So we're talking 7 years back. And I was, just struggling. I was struggling. I was hurting. And I remember this particular night, I was up in the middle of the night. My children were sleeping, and I was laying on the floor in my bedroom, bawling my eyes out. I was overwhelmed. I was 26 years old at the time. And my sons, my oldest son was 6, and my youngest son had just turned 3. We were about 10 months out from when my youngest son was diagnosed with autism, 10 months prior. And we were about 8 months out from when my husband died from a rare lung disease at age 30. And so, I had been running this race, and I had been pacing myself, 26 years old or 25 when I became a widow, and dealing with a child with autism and another young child, a first grader and a toddler, and juggling working full-time as a special education assistant and a full-time student pursuing my bachelor's degree. I was in my first semester of my bachelor's degree when my husband died. And so this particular night in February, it was somewhere around in between around the President's Day, Valentine's Day. It was around my son's birthday, my younger son's birthday. And I was laying on the floor and I was crying. Have you ever seen a kid and they fall and hurt themselves. You know what it's like to have that? You see them and they cry before they hear a noise, right? Like before you actually hear the tears, it's that silent cry. And you know that that silent cry is crazy, right? Because we know that big, loud, crazy cry is coming right after, right? And the reason why they have that silent cry is their body is literally in shock, right? And there is a fear, and it's, oh my goodness, what is happening? I just fell. I'm in pain. I'm afraid. Where's my mommy? This is what the little kids do, right? So when they have that silent cry, their body is literally shocked at whatever has just happened before that they respond with that, loud tears. Well, guess what? That's what we're in right now. When you look at the news and you see, I'm seeing whole families dying from this virus. I have never seen so much death in my life every single day. Multiple people in my timelines are mourning the losses of people, and it is overwhelming. It feels like that little kid that fell down for the first time and is shocked that their body could experience so much pain. Literally, the pain has taken their breath away. And so when I was laying on the floor in my bedroom that night, the pain, the grief, and just the overwhelming feeling was taking my breath away. And I was bawling. I was sick to my stomach. I missed my husband. I was trying to meet the needs of my 6-year-old and trying to meet the needs of my 3-year-old and trying to navigate autism and working. And I was overwhelmed. And I was overcome with emotion. And it literally took my breath away. And the pain felt like it was never going to end. And I got angry with God, and I started yelling at God, and I started cursing at God. And I was like, how could you do this to my life? How could you take the very thing that I wanted, my own family, and you took it away from me? You took my husband away, and my son has autism now, and I'm trying to manage all these things. And I was literally spiraling. And I pulled up my Bible and I said, God, if I have to turn every page of this Bible, I am not going to sleep until you talk to me. You need to tell me something, because this pain is too much. How many of you are feeling that right now of, God, I am over it. This pain is too much. And I will never forget, I was turning the pages of my Bible and I was just trying to get something. And I ended up getting mad and throwing the Bible, and I was just laying there in despair. And I heard God say, the pain is real, but the promise is eternal. He planted that seed in me in the midst of my pain, in the midst of my sorrow. He planted those words, and they stuck with me all the way to December of 2016. I had recently, 2 months prior, dealt with the loss of my mom. I was grieving, and I heard God say, now is the time. And I began to write. And May 1st, 2017, the pain is real, but the promise is eternal. What to do when God's will hurts came out. And let me just tell you this. I am overcome with joy when I see how God took my pain and turned it to purpose. If you would have told me back in 2012, when my husband died and my son was diagnosed with autism, and I'm this 25-year-old trying to manage all of these things and all of these feelings, if you would have said to me, God has a plan for your life, Whitney. Your children will be blessed. You will be blessed. You will become an author. You will become a radio personality. You will fulfill your dream of being a special educator. You will encourage people. You will be able to speak and teach and preach. If you would have told me that there was life after the trauma and life after the loss, I would not have believed you. I would not have believed that that was even possible, because my pain at that time was so great. And many of us right now are in so much pain, and we feel like it is never going to end. We feel like this is our lot. We feel like Job, that defeated, you know what? I'm just curse God and die, is what Job's wife said. And many of us are living that right now. And it feels like it's all consuming. You look around you and things are falling apart. The whole government and economy is falling apart. The country is falling apart. It looks like it's the end. It looks like pain has won. Death has won. That's what it looks and feels like right now. And for many of us, we can't even fathom the possibility that there even is a promise for us, because all we see is the pain. Well, let me stop you right now. And you'll have to forgive me that I am super hyped today, but I'm just so thankful. I'm so thankful. The pain is real, but the promise is eternal. That is not just a cute, title. I lived that. I bled that. That is what the Lord said to me. And that is what he has fulfilled in my life. And I am eternally grateful. I am a person that has attempted suicide, has been hospitalized for attempted suicide, has battled depression and anxiety, still is in therapy, has went through taking medication for depression and anxiety at one point, has had so many different things going on, and honestly felt that there were no promises for me, that God has somehow forgotten me, or somehow I had done something to deserve all of the pain. And I am a living witness that his promise is eternal. I do not care how hard it is right now. I do not care what it looks like. I know it looks like it's falling apart, but my God, it's falling together. And the word of God says that all things work together for the good of those who love God and are called according to his purpose. You have to look past what you can see in your natural eyes. You got to look past it. God does have a plan. He has not forgotten you. He sees every tear. And let me just tell you, the tears that you are crying now will water the seed to your harvest later. Do not think for 1 second that God is letting this just go unnoticed, that he doesn't see the pain and the loss and the rejection and the molestation and all the other things that you may have been going through. He sees the L's that you have taken for him. In his name, because you trusted him, you took an L in some area. Because you followed what he said for you, you had to deal with people turning their backs on you and dealing with people that you thought loved you, and now you realize that they don't. He sees every L. He sees the doctor's reports. He sees the loss. He sees that all you ever wanted was this one thing, and he sees you waiting for it. He sees you, congratulating other people that are getting it with less effort, but here you are fasting and praying for it, and you're not getting it, and people are getting the very thing that you want, and you feel like they don't even appreciate it. He sees it. He sees that you are still faithful, even when stuff blows up in your life. He sees you still serving when you're hurting. He sees you still being loving when people are treating you wrong. He sees it, and he is taking notice. He is taking account. And please understand, if the pain is real and the pain is great, my God, there is a promise. And the promise always outweighs the pain. I wish I could tell you all of the times that God has kept me. I would be here all day and all night. I wish I could tell you when I feel like I'm in the pit, and God, I feel alone, and God, I'm tired. God, I'm serving you and my family members. This past year, I've lost count of how many family members have died in my family. I've lost count because so much has happened. So many hits. Y'all don't even know. The fact that I wake up every day and I can get out of my bed is a miracle before God. The fact that God still allows me to come here every Friday and share something is a miracle, because behind the scenes, behind the smile, I am taking L after L after L. And listen, this last year almost took me out. But God, because the pain is real, but the promise is eternal. And so what are you going to focus on? What am I going to focus on? Am I going to focus on the pain and the loss and the disappointment? Or am I going to focus on the promise that my God will never allow the pain if there was nothing that was on the other side? That is not what his word clearly tells us. His plan is not to harm us, but to prosper us and give us a hope in the future. So what am I going to do? And guess what? We have a choice. We can focus on the pain, or we can focus on the promise. And if you don't know what the promise is on your life, that what has God said to you, you got to ask him. Pray. You need to read your word. His promises are in his word. He promises never to leave us nor forsake us. He promises us that he is always with us. He promises us that he is a present help in the time of trouble. He promises us that all of our needs are met. He promises us that he is there. He has taken the charge for us, and that his love for us is not contingent upon our behavior. His love for us is not contingent upon our character. His love for us is simple, that he gave his son for our sins, and he loves us, and that's it. There is nothing we can do about it. So yes, the pain is real. Yes. But the promise is eternal. And what you focus on will determine if you are living in peace or in chaos. If I can be super transparent, I dabble this line a lot. Most days I'm in peace. Half the morning I'm in peace and I'm trusting God and I'm believing God for a miracle. The other half, I'm like, oh Lord, what's going to happen? What are we going to do? How dare I forget how he's already kept me? How dare that I forget that he helped me and we survived on a low salary? How dare that I forget that he allowed me to be able to complete a degree while my husband was sick? I was writing papers in the hospital bed next to him. I was leaving the hospital, going to work, taking Kevin to appointments to, be diagnosed for autism and have evaluations and things, taking care of Quincy and still not losing my mind. How dare I forget that every need has been met. I've never went hungry. I've never been homeless. And in fact, I've always had more than enough. Even when I wasn't a good steward of what he gave me, he still provided. Even when I spent my money frivolously, didn't operate with a budget, even when I was eating out unnecessarily and down to my last penny and begging God to make a way, even when I wasn't tithing, and I wasn't giving my offering, he still provided. I still never lacked and I still had extra. My God, he is amazing. But in order to get to the promise, you have to be real about the pain. It is time for us to stop faking with God. It is time for us to stop acting like we're good all the time. It's okay to not be okay. Do you think that I was okay when my husband died? Do you think that I was okay with an autism diagnosis and these doctors telling me, well, we don't think your son is going to be able to speak? Do you think I was okay trying to manage all of that? Do you think I was okay when my mom died? Do you think I'm okay right now with the storms that I'm in? No. And I can give that to God, because he is so loving. He is so kind. He is a comforter. He is a healer. He is a deliverer. And he doesn't need our perfection. He needs our submission. He can take it when we come to him, yelling, screaming, kicking, crying, fussing, and cussing. He can take it. Go to him and give him that pain. This virus is out of control. I saw a post where a young man, I don't know him personally, lost his mother, and I think his sister and his brother to this virus. My God, I cannot imagine. We, in my husband's family, there was a loved one that lost their life just yesterday. God, I can't imagine that pain. There are people that are losing their jobs, businesses, homes, so many things. The pain is oh so real, but we serve a God that knows how to take a hit. We serve a God that can handle us coming to him and saying, God, why are you hurting this world? Why is this happening? Even Jesus on the cross cried out to God. So that speaks to his availability and his willingness to hear our tears. Give them to him in this season. Don't flake. Don't try to pretend like you got it all together when you don't. Don't be on here posting all these posts that you don't feel. Be honest. Tell him that pain is real. Tell him you're hurting, you're disappointed, you're discouraged, whatever it is that you're feeling, but don't stop there. Also tell him what his word says. Okay, God, I'm feeling discouraged and I'm feeling afraid, but the word of God says that you don't give us a spirit of fear. Lord, I'm feeling frustrated and I feel abused and I feel, neglected, God, but your word says that you are always with me. God, I look at my situation and I don't know how it's going to work out. And God, I feel confused and I don't know what's going to happen, but your word says that all things work together for the good of those that love you and are called according to your purpose. Lord, I can't see you and I can't feel you and you seem like you're so far away, but your word says when you call on me, I am with you. You gotta also, you don't call out the promises. Call out those promises to God and say, yes, I'm in pain right now, but your promise overrides the pain. So when I'm telling you 3 years ago, when God told me to birth this book, it wasn't a gimmick for me. This wasn't about selling books and being like, oh, I'm an author. This wasn't about, having something on Amazon and making some money. I bled this book. I lived The Pain is Real. And I lived enough and trusted God enough to see that the promise is eternal. And I'm still living with some pain. And I'm still believing God for his promises. This is not for the faint at heart. This life, this walk with God, if you don't know God now, I promise you he's waiting for you. I'm promising that you will never regret the decision you say yes to him. And I'm not trying to give you some made up spiel. I'm telling you from what I know because he kept me when I didn't even want to keep myself. I tried to kill myself 3 times and God said, not so. I thought the depression was going to take me out. I thought that I wasn't worthy of anything. I didn't think I was worthy of love or worthy of any gift or talent. I thought that I was nothing. I thought I was the scum of the earth. Every day I used to pray, my God, please help me to be a good mother because my children deserve more. And I don't feel like I'm good enough. Yet he kept me. No, this walk has not been easy. I will never sugarcoat it for you. Yes, there are days where I feel like giving up and I'm like, God, I need some help. God, I need this need met. God, do you see me? Do you see that I'm trying? There are many days that I live in that, but my God is still able. And even though the pain is real, the promise is eternal. And so I have to shift my eyes from the circumstances. I've got to shift my eyes from the perceived lack because I lack nothing as long as I'm connected to God. And I have to shift my eyes to the hills from whence cometh my help. I have to believe it before I can see it. I have to speak it before I can see it. And I've got to move forward. Listen, this is not for the weak. This life is not for the weak. But you are not weak when you are connected to God because his word says my grace is sufficient. My power is made perfect in your weakness. So my prayer for you today is that for those that are in heavy pain, that you will understand the promise of God overrides the pain that he may allow. Just remember this, that your pain has limitations. If you look in Job, they say that the devil was walking the earth and just looking around, and God came to him and said, have you considered my servant Job? You can do whatever you need to do to him, but don't take his life. Let me explain something to you. You don't give a recommendation for a trash employee, right? You recommend the best. And so God knew that Job was on fire for him. He recommended the best. He said, listen, you can do whatever you want to do, but you cannot take his life. So even the enemy has limitations. So many times we look at that story of Job and we're like, my God, he lost all of his family and all of his land. But what you forget is he didn't lose his life because God had drew a line and said, you can come this far, Satan, but you can't come over here. Please understand that God has drawn a line for you. He has drawn a line for me. And yes, he may allow a lot of crappy stuff to happen. And yes, he may allow a lot of pain and some stuff may go down that you are just like, I can't believe this is happening. But please understand, there is a line. The enemy can't do it all. He can't take it all. He can only go where God says, and God has given him a line for you. And it may feel like, God, I can't take no more. But please understand that God does give you more than you can bear, contrary to popular belief, because it is never his intention for you to bear it alone. He is right there with you. So I don't care what it looks like. And I'm telling you, I have some first class storms happening in my life right now. I need some miracles right now. I need some doors to open right now. I need some ways to be made right now. And I'm believing and I'm speaking before I can see it, that the promise will override the pain. And that even though I'm in pain, there are limitations to my pain, because God doesn't just say, oh, it's all good, give her everything. No, he sets a standard for the enemy. He lets the enemy know how far he can go. So don't start looking at the enemy all fearful. He still has to submit to God. He's not running anything, contrary to how he tries to make things look. And you may think it's falling apart, but he is falling together. And please don't forget that Job received double for his trouble, double portion. And did that replace what he lost? No. But the blessing and the anointing is God's way of saying, my promise overrides the pain. My book is in 4 sections: pain, promise, process, purpose. Here's the thing. The pain sucks. The promise, if we can focus there, it's amazing. But what happens between those two things? Process. See, a lot of us want everything and we don't want to have to go through anything to get it. And that's not how things work. There is a process. I wish I could tell you that the day my husband died, I just had this peace that came over me and I was just cool, but I would be a first class liar if I said that. So that's not what happened. There's been many storms. Even right now, I'm like, God, you told me to do something and I obeyed you, and you had allowed everything to go haywire. The pain is real, but the promise is eternal, but you got to go through the process. There is a process involved. You know, I gave this analogy a while ago, and forgive me to those that might, it's a little graphic, but you know, as women, our bodies go through changes. And when we are of a certain age, our body starts to prepare ourselves for expectancy. So how does that happen? You start to get a cycle, right? You start to bleed. And when a young girl gets her cycle, it is her body's way of preparing her for a future expectancy, right? What is the typical number one sign that you are expecting a baby? Is that the bleeding stops. You miss a cycle. So if you are bleeding right now, please understand that it is God's way of preparing you for expectation, because after you bleed, he will implant a seed in you. He will implant something in you that you will birth from the pain. And so the blood will not kill you. The bleeding signifies that expectancy is coming. So if you are bleeding out right now, please understand that God is clearing some things out, and he is putting something down on the inside of you. He is impregnating you with something. So after the bleeding stops, there is expectancy that is happening. And then from that, you will go through a labor, because there is no birth without labor. So you will go through a labor, which will have a process, but you will birth what he has for you. And please let me let you know this, because God is amazing. Even in all of that, his blood will cover you. Listen, I'm not playing, because I've been in here hurting, y'all. I've been in here going through. I am 33 years old, and I have been through a lot. But I'm sick and tired of being defeated when my God has been there every step of the way, made ways out of no ways, opened doors I didn't even know were available. And even when he's allowed a storm, he's allowed the storm not to hurt me or stop me, but to clear the path for me to clean some things up in my life and get some things together, so that as I'm birthing what he has for me, it is birthed in a wonderful environment. It's birthed in a healthy environment. So yes, the pain has been all the way real, but the promise has been all the way, it's been eternal. God's will does hurt sometimes, but you got to learn how to trust God when it gets thick, when it gets rough. I'm telling you, y'all, I'm pumped up today. I told you, I'm like for real pumped up, because God has been with me. God has kept me. And y'all don't even know. Y'all don't even know the half. I'm going to be giving y'all a major announcement later on in the show, and you're going to learn a little bit more even in that, but y'all don't know the half. Don't let this smile fool you. Don't let the smile fool you. Don't let the, funny posts about my kids and stuff fool you. I have been through and am going through a lot, yet will I trust him. That is my position. I won't change my position. Even when I might be trusting him and crying, trusting him and worn out, but I won't change my position because he's been that good. So if you are in pain, please understand that the promise on your life is eternal. And the promise overrides the pain. And God sees you. He has not forgotten you. He has not left you. And it will not kill you. The word of God says, I will live and not die and proclaim what the Lord has done. The pain is real, but the promise is eternal. What to do when God's will hurts. That's the book that I birthed 3 years ago today. That is the promise over my life that God has given me. And I pray that you will hear it and know that that is the promise for you as well. So listen, y'all, I got to switch gears because I done got myself fired up. I'm in here sweating, y'all. God has just been so real. And so I'm shifting gears now. I'm so excited. My brother is coming on, y'all. He will be on here momentarily. Clifton Cawthorne. And let me just say something. We're going to get into a whole bunch of stuff later. But I'm telling you this, as we shift gears, you have to learn how to respond in a crisis. Right now, our world is in a crisis, and we have to learn to respond. We respond by the word of God. We respond by trusting and believing God. We respond by how we carry ourselves, what we say, think, and do. But even on a practical sense, oh, my brother's here. Hey, Cliff.
Hey, Whit, how
On
you
a practical
doing?
sense, we have to respond well. All right, so let me do this real quick. This is my family, y'all. This is my family. And he was the graphic designer for my book. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
this is Clifton Cawthorne. Clifton,
Hey,
how
y'all.
are you?
I'm good. Can you hear me?
I can hear you perfectly. I'm sorry, I'm
Awesome,
like real
awesome,
hype
great.
right now. So I need to bring it down a little bit.
It's all right. It's all right.
So it is an honor to have you on the show. I love
Yes.
you and Kiara. Shout out to you guys. I love you guys so much. But we have done some amazing work, and I've been blessed to be connected to you. And I just want to talk with you. And listen, y'all, we're going to be putting some information in the live streams, the YouTube stream, and in the Facebook stream. You need to reach out to Clifton when we're done. I'm telling you, I'm not going to give it away, but he has what you need. So let's hop into that. So right now we're in a crisis, right? We're
Mm-hmm.
in a crisis. And, we were talking about this earlier, that if you are not tech savvy and you have a business or any type of platform in this situation, you're going to have to become tech savvy, right?
Yes.
So
Mm-hmm.
talk to me a little bit about what you do, and let's just hop in and go.
All right. So the name of my business is PTech. It stands for Practical Technical Consultations. And what I do pretty much in a nutshell is I fill in the blanks for a business or any sort of personal need with technology. So if there's a problem, let me show you how I can fix it. And we'll fortify that with technology and applications to make your life easier.
That's incredible. So I've been working with you, so I know. I'm always asking questions. But let's just talk about the pandemic right now. So what do you think is happening with the companies that aren't as tech savvy right now? How are they being impacted by this situation right now?
It's one of those things where if you don't prepare for it, you're going to have to get ready and you're going to be falling behind. Some companies, they're on top of it, but other smaller companies, even larger companies that realize that using a computer is more than just using Word, chatting. You have different functions, you know what I mean? It's real. And I know with every company, there's some sort of IT department, and I know that they are booming right now. I know they are overwhelmed, and it's crazy because I've always thought that you have a larger company, you will invest the money into taking procedures in case of an emergency, not specifically the pandemic that we have going on right now, but in case of anything, you just have to have that contingency plan in case something goes wrong. So I see a lot of companies hiring outside because they don't know what to do. No one knows what to do
Listen,
at
listen.
this time.
It's amazing, and you know, we were actually talking about this. Shout out to my Awesome God Radio fan. We were in a meeting last night, and I'm just talking about things, and we were talking about the importance of technology right now. And you can tell the industries that are with it. Like, I mean, shout out to Zoom. Who knew?
Yes.
Who knew? And
Yes.
Google Meet, like, who knew? They are on it. Shout out to the streaming, you know, services. I didn't watch everything on Netflix. Like, I didn't watch. Y'all got me watching Tiger King. Like, what in the world?
Oh, that's
You
a
know,
good one.
you know. But it's amazing. But then on the flip side of that, there are the companies that they don't have a plan, right? And they're feeling the effect of that right now. I also think specifically about churches. So the churches that can stream their services and have those things available, they're still able to connect. But those that didn't have that and didn't attempt to get it, that's it, right? That's it.
That's it.
And so this is a lesson for all of us to be, you know, Will Smith always says, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. You
There
know,
it is.
it's, you know, it's tough, but talk to me a little bit about your services. I know what you've done for me, and we're going to get into that in a minute, but talk to me a little bit about what you do. So if there is a person who has a business or a startup or maybe a product that they're trying to push, what is it that you will do to help them in that process?
Well, the number one thing when anyone is starting a business, or if they have something that they have the vision for, but they don't know how to execute that, is I get the question, do you do websites? Yes. Yes. Not only do I create the website, but I also educate on the whole process, because for some, it seems like a tedious project. Some it's like, oh, I can do this. I can YouTube it. And with YouTube, they always explain how, but few go into detail on the why. So that's what separates my services from a lot of others, or do-it-yourself videos. You get a better understanding, so that way you can get it and then you can teach someone else. They don't necessarily have to come to me. If you're in that position to share what you know, I'm glad to put you there. So website development, we've done graphic design together,
Yes.
and and social media strategy. So not specifically the marketing of um, how can I get more followers, which I do that. How can I get more subscribers? But I also like to streamline on what social media you're using, so you're not having 5, 6 different pages and you're not getting anywhere. You're focusing on your core audience, and what best social media applications will have the best impact on your business. I help discuss all of those.
Yes. So listen, I'm like extra pump. I really need to chill. But one of the things that I'm so glad that you brought up was social media. And so, you know, there are people that have been on this social media and they've been winning with it. There are people that are learning, and people don't realize there is a method to the social media madness. It's actually not just throw some pages up. It is actually very strategic, and there is an entire algorithm, and there is a whole back side to this. And one of the things I just remember from our conversations and the work that you and I've been doing is you explaining to me, listen, you don't have to be on every social media platform. You need to figure out who your target audience is and where you can connect with them. And so that to me was one of the most, it was a very profound statement, because I'm thinking, well, I have a service, I have a business, I have a show, I need to be everywhere.
Right.
And I think a lot of us do that, right? So you start all these pages, right? You got pages everywhere, and it's a lot to manage, but it's something to be said about knowing your target audience. And so what are some tips that you could give for someone that is, you know, trying to figure that out? Like, do I need to be on Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, you know, LinkedIn, and all of those places? What are some things that you would, you know, give some tips that you would give them?
So, okay, that's a good question. I always like to say that when you start anything, any social media, go with what's comfortable for you first, because starting your own business, anything, it's already stressful when you're learning something new. You want to make sure you get it right. So being comfortable is very important, because if you're in a stressful environment, you won't retain that information. You won't want to do it. But if you're comfortable, then you'll say, okay, I can do this, I can do that, I can learn this. And it's not so much of a chore, because social media for us, sometimes it becomes a chore. It's for fun, it's for networking purposes. But when you get overwhelmed with the actual information that goes into what needs to be done, it can take you under really quick. So just being comfortable in on your platform is important. Um, Another idea that I like to share is that everyone, no matter what it is, no matter who you are, you should be on Facebook. Facebook should definitely be your number one go-to social media, because everyone is on there.
Mhm.
Everyone is on there. People like Instagram, which is great. Snapchat is great. LinkedIn for marketing is great. Twitter is great. But as of now, there are over 1.8 billion users active every day on Facebook.
Mm.
So that's how you really can tell this is the largest platform. So that's how you can reach the majority of your audience.
Absolutely. And I think, you just gave so many nuggets about just being clear on who your audience is, and being intentional. I know for me, you know, I built social media unintentionally, right? I was just
Mhm.
connecting with people, and it just, was a blessing. But now having a business and trying to connect and having some other things that are coming down, are coming up later on, it is strategic. And I remember you talking to me, and I was just like, I didn't think about all of these things. Wow, like it is overwhelming, and just that there is so much that you can do, and there is a way to be successful. One example I wanted to give before I ask you the next question is Tiger King is a perfect example.
Yeah.
So if
Mhm.
you would have told me, or if you would have called me on the phone and asked me, hey, Whit, do you want to watch this, thing about this tiger guy and this crazy, like, I would have said, absolutely not.
Nah.
But because of the push that was on social media, the memes, and I mean, literally, for like, it didn't take me long to convert to watching it, because it
Mhm.
was so much information. It was so much, happening. And I'm like, oh my goodness, what in the heck are these people talking about? What are these memes? And so what happened? I went and I watched it. Right? That's what happened. And I sat and I
Mhm.
watched all 7 of those episodes back to back. And I'm like, I cannot believe I watched this. But I did, because of all of the information, all of the memes and all of those things. So if it's used correctly, it can be beneficial. Now, I didn't make any money
Absolutely.
doing that, right? But it did make somebody else some money. And so,
Yeah.
even though we were talking about Facebook, I want to get back to that actually. We know that there is an algorithm. So even though, yes, there are a billion people that are there, it is very hard though to kind of get your content and your information exactly where it needs to be. And so what are some, small tips, without giving away too much? What are some things to consider when you're trying to find your place in that 1 billion?
So when we like to discuss going viral, one person shares a video and then overnight it just blows up and now they're an internet sensation. So let's say, for example, you and I have 500 friends on social media. You
Okay.
have 500 friends on social media. You take a video and I share that video. Now we may have mutual friends. Let's say we have mutual friends, like 100 of them.
Okay.
That means that there's 400 that don't know, but they see the video. So you can have up to, for example, like I said, Facebook, you can have up to 5,000 friends. So just keep in mind, when you are utilizing all of the different social medias, that you have other people watching you. and not necessarily, they might share, they might not, but they're always watching. So I say all that to say that don't be afraid to push whatever you have. That is a great way to gain followers, because somebody's friends going to see what you have to offer, and it only takes one. So I like to keep that in mind with anyone, even YouTube. It only takes one subscriber to see. Really quick, I have an example of a rapper that he recently gained popularity. I can't remember his name, but I remember the quick story is there is a guy on YouTube that his whole channel is dedicated to reviewing videos that have basically no views. So probably at least under 50 views. He happened to see the video that the rapper posted, and overnight he gained popularity just because one person in Australia saw this video and he gave a review on it, and now he has a record deal and he's blown up. So in a nutshell, don't be afraid to push your content, because someone's going to see it. Take your time and build your foundation, and success will come.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And please understand, I just feel the need to say this as well, that I think we do get caught up in the overnight sensation, the overnight. And what we don't realize is that what happened that was overnight is that opportunity. That person was working beforehand. And so, I think of some of the people that I've watched, like Just Hilarious. I used to always watch her on Instagram, and, I thought she was funny. And, for people that have been following her, they know that she's not new to this. It's just that she got the right opportunity for her. She worked and built her brand, and then she got some more opportunities so that now she's more popular. But she didn't just start doing this a year ago. She's been at this for a long time. So also don't get discouraged. If you are trying to build something, if it's a ministry or a business or a book or whatever your products are, don't get discouraged if the process takes longer. Be consistent and diligent.
Yes.
Like you said, somebody's always watching, and you never know. I always, one of the things I always pray is, thank you, God, for the people that you have put me on their hearts to be a blessing and a resource to me that I don't even know yet. That they may somehow come across and see me, and I don't even know that our paths are going to connect, but it's all it takes is one encounter. One encounter. So be diligent and be consistent in what you do. I want to ask another question though, too, because I think the biggest thing is money. And I was talking to someone, and it's what to spend money on, what not to spend money on, because there's always something, right, to spend money on. And there's always somebody saying, hey, I'm going to do this. If you give me this, I'm going to do this. What are some things that you think are worth the investment? And what are some things that you think you need to kind of rethink before you step out there?
Okay, so automatically, something that everyone should invest in if they're trying to step into that professional light is professional headshots or some sort of professional photo. Because before anything, you are trying to get yourself out there. So it's all about presentation on your social media. No matter what you do, as long as you have that professional face, people will take you seriously. You have that picture. It's not a picture of you at the cookout, but you are, you know what I mean? You're trying to really sell your business. If I create websites and you see me in closed-toed sandals and stuff, you're like, well, I don't know if he's really about his business. But if you see me behind a computer or you see me in a suit, you know that, okay, this is what I'm about. And you can take that photo and post it like on LinkedIn for marketing and things like that. It's all about your presentation. So invest in yourself before buying ads and having a $1,000 application for your business. You should want to be presentable and know your mission. That is it. that is the main thing that I think that everyone should invest in, because as I just said, everyone's watching.
They are.
Somebody's looking at you.
They are.
And
One of the
oh, I'm
things,
sorry.
no, you're fine. You just gave me something I was just thinking about, is not only that professional headshot, and it doesn't matter what you do, that is extremely important, but also, to me, what's invaluable is that mentorship and accountability. Having somebody that is with you to cheer you on, to also hold you accountable, to, have to, gain some knowledge. I know for me, I remember way back when I was writing the book, there was only a small group of us. Remember we used to meet at the house?
Oh yeah,
I would
that was
cook
the
and they
best.
would come
You would cook.
over and we would eat and talk, and it was such a, like, I missed that because it was such a powerful time. Our little round table is what we would call round table.
Yes, round table.
And we would sit in my kitchen and we would birth ideas. That's literally what would happen, is we would start talking and there was ideas, and then we would say, okay, well, we're coming back here next month. And next month you need to have done this, and this with this idea. And if we think of that time and the things that we have been able to accomplish in that time, it's amazing. So having that mentorship and that accountability. And one other thing I want to share, which is the perfect segue into what we are about to talk about next. I'm getting ready to be hyping. It is also never being afraid to reflect on something and improve it and revamp it, rebrand it.
Right.
I think that sometimes we think, oh man, what's done is this, but you can always revamp and rebrand. You can always do that. So talk to me a little bit about what are your thoughts as it pertains to that, and then we'll hop in.
As far as that goes, it's all about the pains of changing what's familiar. You have something set in stone and it's working for you. Why fix it if it isn't broken? I believe that you shouldn't have to necessarily fix, but we all can improve. So, and everything's changing. Technology's changing. Our audience doesn't always have the same type of appeal. Someone that likes oranges one day may like Granny Smith apples in 2 weeks. So it's always important to stay fresh and learn about what you're doing, learn about what's going on around you and how it impacts your business to become smarter and to be more effective when you take everything you've absorbed and put it back into your business. And now it's even bigger than what it was before.
Absolutely. And I think a lot of times, or sometimes, people quit when what they needed to do was not quit and abandon that project. They needed to rebrand it. They needed to adjust some things, but they just kind of cut themselves short. And so with that being said, I am so excited to share some of the things we have been doing. So
let it loose. I
know we're like, so we were talking earlier today and we were just like, we're so excited. Like today is the anniversary of The Pain is Real, but the Promise is Eternal. And I am just so thankful to you for being my graphic designer. Like I said, I still have my books. So I have a whole bunch of books here. But anyway, so we are, first announcement, relaunching the book. Yes. We have sent the book back through editing. We have a brand new book cover and I cannot wait. I'm going to be showing y'all real soon. I cannot wait to show it to you. It looks so good.
The growth is so real.
Yes, the growth.
That 3 years.
And that's the best part is, looking back over 3 years and both of us having a conversation and like, you know what? We've learned so much since then. Let's take what we've learned and let's rebrand. Let's repurpose this. So listen, it went back through editing. Shout out to Kay Jefferson, holding me down, holding She Hills Publishing down on the editing. And it's amazing. Shout out to you, Cliff. We have an amazing new cover. I can't wait to show y'all. It's going to be so dope. We are going to do, I'm asking a favor from my people now. If y'all love me, I'm asking for a favor. And I will give you more details, but I have a goal for this particular relaunch. I want The Pain is Real, but the Promise is Eternal to be on the Amazon bestseller authors list. And it is so simple to do. We're going to have a promotion. I'm going to tell you the day. All you have to do is order the book on Kindle. It's going to be super cheap at a certain day and from a certain time. That's all I need for this to happen. So and then of course, buy copies, for your friends and your family and everybody. I'm telling you, it's going to be great. So there's that, right? First announcement, we are relaunching the book. Can't wait. The cover literally takes me out of here. And I got the opportunity to read the book again, because it's one thing to write it and live it, but then to read it. And I literally was blessed. I was in tears reading it again of, my God, look at what he has done. And just to give you a disclaimer to my listeners, if you're looking for a book from a perfect Christian, this ain't it. But if you're looking for some real raw transparency, this is the book for you. So that's announcement number one. Now, announcement number two. Oh my gosh.
Do I need to lay back for this one?
I know, right? I wish we were in the studio so that Quincy could get the drum roll and the hand clap. So this is a big deal. And I know the show is ending here, so I love it. I am so excited. This is a faith move. This is a crazy faith move. I was even afraid to even share it. And we were talking about this week. About, should I say it? But I'm going to say it anyway. So listen, God put something on my heart. And, sometimes you tend to define your story by a particular strain of events, right? And God had to show me that there is so much more to my story than what I've been sharing. And there are layers to this, and that all of my story has meaning and value. And so if you thought The Pain is Real, but the Promise is Eternal was something, we are doing a documentary.
All right.
We are doing a documentary. When I tell you the way that God has set this up, and I certainly can't give all the details right now, but the way that it is set up and where he has opened the door, it is crazy. The people just from January to now that God has put in my path, this thing literally exploded in front of me. I thought, oh, this is cute. And then it was just like, oh no, this is happening. And when I tell you, he allowed me to meet people, even in quarantine. He sent a contact that I didn't even know was possible. He provided in this moment. So it is exciting. Of course, due to the virus, we were a little delayed in shooting. But listen, it's coming. The documentary is coming. And let me just tell you this. I am turning all the way up. I am taking what God has. I love saying stuff like that. Can you imagine? I'm taking what God has given me. And I'm telling you, if you thought the book was something, if you thought this show is something, this will be something. I'm going to go and be transparent beyond my level of comfort. I am going to share not just the pain. I'm going to share what God has done, the amazing things that he has done. And this is a documentary for somebody that needs a little bit of hope, but some real raw truth. So it's based on my book, but it takes it up a notch. And I am so excited. I can't wait to share details as things start to unfold over the next couple months. I cannot wait. I am so excited. I'm afraid, y'all. Can I be super transparent? It's real. This is a faith move. And I know that God does not give us a spirit of fear. So I'm doing it afraid. I'm stepping out there, trusting God and in his promises, and I'm moving forward. And I just ask for your prayers and your support. If God lays on your heart to pray for me, please do so. If he lays it on your heart to support in another way, please do so. But Clifton, you are a huge part of that, and that you are helping me get everything ready. We have been meeting and working so hard together of getting my social media together. You're going to start to see some things coming from there. Subscribe to that YouTube page, y'all. Please. There's going to be giveaways and some really cool things that's going down there soon. But you've been so influential. And so I really just want to say
thank you. I'm very appreciative.
I'm like speechless, because I would not have done this if God wouldn't have laid the right people, and I can't do it by myself. And for you to be willing to step in and say, I got you with, let's do this. It means everything to me. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you. Listen, the show is wrapping up. And first, I have to, before we get off the air, I gotta say shout out to producer Q. Listen,
Hmm.
the show without Q, I could not do it without him. I'm so thankful. Thank you to Awesome God Radio for taking not only Q, but also me up under you and training us and teaching us. We are eternally grateful. Clifton, I need you to share your information. We're going to put it in the live. Listen, your company, to everybody that's listening, needs him. Your company
Hmm.
needs these services. He is on it. He works hard. He is consistent and diligent and professional, and the work is good. Just wait till you see what we are cooking up. It's crazy, y'all. Please.
Wow, my head is like this big with.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. You are gifted and you are anointed, Clifton. Don't ever
Oh, thank you.
doubt that. Don't ever doubt that. You know,
Thank
God
you.
has an amazing plan for you and Kiara. And I'm so happy. I just can't wait to see all that he does. But share your information and we're going to put it in the lives.
Absolutely. All right.
So just tell people where they can reach you.
So if you need to reach me at all, I'm on Instagram at p.tech. So p.tecc101, and that's on Instagram. And you can also hit me on a direct line, strictly my email at p.tech. So p.tecccllc@gmail.com. For any inquiries, no question is stupid. Go for it.
Go for it. So listen, hit him up. We're going to put those in the comment section to make sure that you hit him up. Clifton, thank you so much for being a guest on the show.
Thank you for having me, Whit.
For everything that we've been on these past couple of years. I love you guys. And you know what? God is just getting started. So I'm excited to see what he does. In closing, thank you guys for listening and tuning in. I pray that you were blessed. Hey, grab the book. The pain is real, but the promise is eternal. In closing, thank you, God, for this time. She thinks, she feels, she cries, she prays, she trusts, she overcomes, and ultimately she heals. This is the She Heals Radio Show with your host, Whitney J. Have a blessed Friday. Take care. God bless. We'll see you next week.